All right, of course, giving our praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Kadash, right? And we're going into Wicked Israelite Men, right? Uh, chapter 3, right? Or video 3, right? Whatever you want to call it. If you haven't watched the first two videos, I advise you to go into it, watch them, and understand them. This is for brothers that's just getting into the truth or on the surface level, inquiring. Do not make the same mistakes that plenty of brothers have made um, within this Israelite, what they say, Israelite community, right? Or in this truth, man, right? So you got to watch out for these wicked Israelite men, right? And like we always do. So Lockie, I'm still overcoming this cold, Israel. Well, we go these videos. We go bring it out when specifically when I'm going into. Um, we'll start off with the book of Jeremiah, chapter 5, verse 26, once again, right? So, book of Jeremiah, chapter 5, verse 26. For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap. They catch men. Right. So you got a lot of wicked Israelite men. Right. There's some in camps. There's some that's not in camps. You got a lot of bug outs. Uh, you know, they wait. They cause division. Right. They cause strife. Right. Debate. Right. These men whole purpose is to cause division within the nation, man. Right. To make you go off. Right. So we go get Proverbs. Right. So when these wicked men come to you, man, right, and they entice you, man, right. Let's see what Solomon said. Right. Let's see what Solomon said. Right. It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 1, verse 10. Right. It say, my son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. Right. So if a sinner, you know somebody's a sinner, right? And what's sin? Right? Sin is the transgression of God's laws, man. Right? So if somebody's enticing you to sin, right? Hey, Solomon said, "A consent thou not." Right? You know somebody is going off, man. Right? Don't follow them, man. That's basically what I'm bringing this out for. If they say, "Come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privately for the innocent without cause." Right? Remember Jeremiah 5:26. They lay wait and they catch men. Right, on a spiritual level, man. Right? They constantly trying to throw off the men in the Lord. Right? So this is just not for brothers that's in camps. Right? You have brothers that's not in camps that bash camps as well. Right? So you don't mess with these brothers. These brothers wicked, and you know them are also on the other side of the playing field. Right? Of the Israelite was it wicked Israelite men. Right? And it's mainly of the Yiddish, man. I call it the Yiddish community. You got your Yahos, your Yahuwah, uh, the Yayis, and Yippee Yippee Kaye, all different type of names, man. Right? Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as thou that go down into a pit. Right? So these are the men that the whole purpose is to make the camps look bad, right? They make the camps look like they're wicked. They're dealing with deceit. They're just not telling the truth, right? And the whole time, they're the ones that being deceitful, right? They're the ones that are hating their brother, man, right? So they cover it up. Or I'm rebuking them. I'm correcting them. Whole time they hate their brothers, man, because some point in time they didn't dealt with the camps, right? They probably got offended, and now the whole purpose is to cast out camps' names as just evil, right? Them are evil men that. All right, let me bring that back out. Right, these are the evil men, that wax worse and worse and worse. Right? So it's not just about camps. I used to call them individualites. I had to stop using that term because it's a lot of individual like brothers that's righteous, man. That's on that right path, and that's called on the name of Yahweh Shemiel Shah. And that might not necessarily be in the camp. So I had to stop using that term, but that's what I used to call them. All right, this Second Timothy chapter 3, in verse number 13. It say, but evil men and seducers shall wax worse and worse, deceiving and being deceived, right? So these are men that's waxing worse and worse, right? That's being deceived, right? All right. Since they are being deceived, right? And what they do is, like I said, they will get offended, right? They call themselves getting offended by camps, and then they say they hate camps. You don't got to be in the camp, right? Which we always say you don't have to be in a camp to make it to the kingdom. But what they do is they leave a camp, say you don't have to be a camp, and then they get other people to agree with them. They get other people to agree with them, right? And they form their own little congregation of camp bashing, right? So these are evil men that wax worse and worse, right? They are being deceived and are deceiving people themselves, man, right? Right? These are the ones with the itchy ears, right? Lovers of themselves, right? All these things will happen in the last times, right? Now we know that the Israelites, right, are going to suffer persecution, right, from the heathens and from the will be your so-called brethren, right? So that's something that we got to understand. It's going to happen that way, right? So you got to understand that evil men, right? Evil men also don't understand judgment, right? They don't understand prophecy. You got a lot of evil men that buck up against prophecy. Which number one prophecy do they buck up against? They buck up against Esau, Esau being the so-called white man, right? All these yayos and toodles and yuyus and yu-gi-ohs and whatever name they're calling y'all about Shimei Shah. That's the number one thing they go up against. They go up against the prophecy being Esau, man. Esau being the so-called white man, right? So evil man can't understand judgment. Like they don't understand the judgment of the Most High. They don't understand the prophecy of the Most High, right? Because they are foolish. They are them foolish prophets, right? Let's get Jeremiah, right, chapter 5, verse number 4. Therefore I said, surely these are poor. They are foolish, for they know not the way of Yahweh, nor the judgment of their God. Right? So they don't know the judgment of their God. They don't know the way of Yahweh by Shemiel. So they think they do, right? But they don't. All right, let's get Proverbs. Let's get that. All right, it's the book of Proverbs, chapter 28 and verse number 5. Right? It say, evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek Yahweh understand all things, right? So them that seek Yahweh, right, is going to know all things, right? That's why it's saying Amos. All right, let's get that. All right, Amos. All right, bear with me as well. All right, Amos. Chapter 3 and verse number 7. And it reads, it says, surely Yahweh power, right? Yahweh Shem Yahushua will do nothing, but he revealeth his secrets into his servants, the prophets, right? And who are the prophets? Right, let's get Amos 2 and 11. And I raise up your sons for prophets, and of your young men for Nazarites. Is it not even thus, O ye children of Israel, saith Yahweh? Right, so the prophets are the children of Israel, right? So the mysteries, all right, are revealed to his servants, the prophets, right? And one that's prophesying the downfall of this wicked kingdom. That one is revealing the judgment of the so-called white man, but revealing the judgment of this wicked kingdom, man, right? America, Babylon the Great, right? That's when they know they have a short understanding of prophecy, right? You got Israelite men that don't believe in Yahweh Shah, right? This is why they can't understand the prophecy, right? Why? Let's get Revelations, right? And you need Yahweh Shah, right? This Revelations chapter 19, verse 10. And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, see thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant and of thy brethren, that I have testimony of Yahweh Shai. I have testimony of Yahweh Shai. Worship Yahweh, for the testimony of Yahweh Shai is the spirit of prophecy. Right? So you cannot get prophecy without Yahweh Shai. Yahweh Shai's testimony is the spirit of prophecy. Right? So this is why these OT onlys, right? They can't understand prophecy. They don't understand judgment, man. They don't understand the judgment of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? So why beware of these evil men. Beware of these evil men, right? You so-called black, Hispanic, Native Indian, right? And you got Negro onlys too, man. They don't believe that the black, so like they don't believe that the Hispanics and Native Indians are Israelites, right? So these are also uh the wicked Israelite men to watch out for, right? Because they are meant to deceive you, man, beguile you, right? These are traditions of men. They don't go according to scripture, man. They go according to how they feel, right, and how they feel about it, man. Right? They way on the highway, and these men never on the highways and byways, right? Because the Lord won't allow them to go out to the highways and byways and speak that madness, man. Right? They always coming up as scoffers, though, right? We had a lot of Negro only scoffers, a lot of OT only scoffers, right? And the Lord dealt with them, man. The Lord didn't allow us, his men, to cut these men up, right? This Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse number 6, right? And it say, ye do thus requite the Lord, O foolish people and unwise. Is it not he that thy father that have brought thee? Have he not made thee and established thee? Right? So you got a lot of foolish men, right? Foolish prophets, foolish, because Israel was always known, we read the scriptures, a rebellious nation, right? Foolish people, Scottish children, right? And when you go into that word Scottish, it means to be stupid, man, right? How can you not understand the prophecies of Yahweh Shah? Why? Because they're not meant to get it, man. They're not meant to get it, right? So don't be one of them men, right? That's blinded, right, by the Lord. Pray the Most High give you the real understanding of what's going on, right? You want to be that brother. I know brothers that was believing in Yahweh Shah. Now they don't believe in Yahweh Shah no more, right? Because they didn't got beguiled, right, by by the OT owners, right? And OT only tried to do that to me not too long ago, right? He tried the OT only favorite verses to use. They say Yahweh Shah doesn't never existed or never died for our sins. Is Deuteronomy 24 and 16, right? It was dealing with they say the father should not die for the sins of the son should not die for the sins of the father. Every man must die for his own iniquity, right? And that has nothing to do with Yahweh Shah. All they're saying is uh, the parents should not be put to death for the children, and the children should not be put to death for the parents. That's all it's saying. It has nothing to do with Hamashiach Yahweh Shah dying on the cross, man. Right? So that's why we are blessed, man, right? To have the understanding, man, of these scriptures, right? So let's get the book of Isaiah. So understand these things, man. Beware lest any man spoil you through vain deceit, right? At the rudiments of the world and not after Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. Right. So bear with me. Let's go to the classic. Right. I'm gonna read from verse 3, but the point is I really wanted verse 4, but for the sake of context, I'm gonna read verse 3. Right, this is Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3, where it say, the ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib. Right? But Israel doth not know, my people doth not consider, right? They don't consider the ways of Yahweh Shemel, right? Yahweh Shai is all through this book, right? This book right here. And they don't consider it, man. Right? They read one verse, damn, this in here, I mean Yahweh Shai couldn't have died for us. That's not what it's talking about. And I didn't cut so many onlys up on that, right? Because it's just a bunch of madness. Right? So Rebel Isaiah 1 and 4, a sinful nation, a people laden with iniquity, a seed of evildoers, children that are corrupters, they have forsaken Yahweh, they have provoked the Holy One of Israel into anger, they are going away backwards, right? So our people, our men, our women have always, many of our men have always gone away backwards from Yahweh Shah. Right? So this is a admonition, right? A warning, right, to you so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Indians, right? Be wise, man. Be wise. Understand, right? Let's get a couple. All right, let's get Colossians. All right, let's get Colossians. Bear with me. Colossians chapter 2, and we'll see what I want to start at. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 7. Right, it's Colossians 2 and 7. It say, rooted and built up in him and established in the faith, right? So make sure you establish in the faith. Make sure you rooted. Make sure you built up into this truth, man. Right? Don't just do what I did when I first heard about it. I kind of just step deep into it, man. Right? I already had a leg deep in it. Right? Next thing you know, my other feet is deep in it. You know, I'm in the camp. I'm doing the work. Right? And then don't get me wrong. That's you know, my first couple years in the troops was probably some of the best years of my life, man, because I learned a lot. I learned a lot from my brothers, right? Brothers are watching for Israel. I learned a lot from the mighty brothers over there. Uh, you know, I built relationships with a lot of brothers in the congregation. You know, but you know, sometimes you just outgrow something, right? But brothers know I have nothing but love for them, and you know, and this video not really attended towards them brothers because uh brothers, there's some good brothers up there. So if we need a camp, a congregation, you know, there's some good brothers, man. Right? Even though we had differences and some differences and stuff like that. Uh, you know, if I could do it all over again, I would. Because, you know, my first couple years in the truth was probably some of the best days of my life, you know what I'm saying? Um, you know, I definitely would, you know, wish things was done differently, you know, on my part and on their part, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, always go take accountability for my flaws and my faults, and you know, all praise to Yahweh Shem Shah. Right, verse 8, we say, beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the traditions of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Hamashiach. Right, so these are traditions of men, right? Doctrines of men, doctrines of devils, man. Right. So let's go. So beware, man. Beware. Beware, man. Right. Let's go. Let's see what Paul said about these things. All right. First, we go get Romans. Romans chapter 16 and verse number 17. Now I beseech you, brethren, mark them which cause divisions and offenses contrary to the doctrine. Right. OT onlys. contrary to the doctrine, right? Negro only is contrary to the doctrine, right? Anything that goes against the Israelites, being the so-called Black, Hispanic, Native Indians, you got to keep the law, statute, commandments in the faith in Hamashiach Yahushua. Is contrary to the doctrine, man, right? Which is the law, statute, and commandments, which ye have learned, and avoid them. For they that are such serve not our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, but their own belly, and by good words and fair speeches deceive the hearts of the simple, right? So by words, they deceive the heart of the simple, right? So don't be simple-minded, right? Because let's go. Well, also Paul said, 1 Corinthians chapter 14, right, verse 20, right? It say, "Brethren, be not children in understanding. Howbeit in malice be ye children," right? Be malice when you angry. And that goes for me, man. Me dealing with my anger, man. I have to be like a little children, right? Meaning abstain from it, right? Don't do it. Don't get so angry, man. You know, sometimes I'll be beating myself up over my anger because I shouldn't be getting this angry, you know? So that's that's a flaw that I'm working on, my anger, right? So be wise and understanding and be like little children and malice, man, right? Me be ignorant to it, right? Don't do it. Abstain from it, right? Everything don't need a reaction, right? Just because something happened in your life and you know you might be uncomfortable, don't mean it's in the world, man. Things change all the time, and that's sometimes that we have a problem with. Sometimes we have a problem with this change in itself, man, right? And you know, if I want to be and this goes for all of us, if I want to be able to prepare and be ready for Jacob's troubles, man, I gotta be okay with change. I gotta be okay with change, man. You know? So call y'all Bashim Yahushua. You know, I was dealing with something today, man. You know, I just had to, you know, I text my brothers, you know, and that's another thing you need to do, Israel. Get some good brothers that care for you, man, you know. And, you know, vent, man. Let it out. You know what I'm saying? Let it out. You know, and them brothers gonna love you, man. They gonna tell you how it is. They gonna tell you you need to calm down, man, and really get yourself together, you know. And we need to hear certain stuff, man. We don't need to be. Sometimes we don't need to hear it's gonna be okay. And you know, I understand. No, you gotta. Some brothers gotta tell you, hey, you kind of acting like a little bitch, man. You need to get yourself together, man. Right. So sometimes you need to hear that. Right. Excuse my language. Right. It's a be wise and understanding. Understand these things, man. Right. So we're constantly going through the curses of Deuteronomy, right? How we break that, we got to keep the commandments. We got to do better at keeping the law, statute, commandments, right? And the Lord puts you in certain situations to try you, man, to make you stronger, right? So how the hell I'm gonna deal with Jacob's troubles, right? And I can't even deal with the change that's going on in my life right now. So that's something I got to deal with, something I got to get better at, man, right? So that's a rebuke to myself. I'm not afraid to admit my flaws, man, right? I know I have understanding of the scriptures and I know the precepts and breakdowns. At the end of the day, man, I'm still a mortal man. I'm still working on myself, right? So that's another advice to brothers and sisters that's just getting the truth. Hey, work on your flaws, man. Always, constantly, every day, examine yourself, right? And fix the things that you need to work on. You know, if you're dealing with anger, get your anger together. Stop letting everything get you out the spirit. Stop letting everything get you riled up, man. Right? So, you know, let my testimonies uh encourage brothers, man. You know, and brothers will say, man, I'm a humble guy. You know, I'm a quiet guy. I really don't mess with nobody. I'm respectful, but hey, man, I got an anger problem, man. I got a bad temper, and that's the reason why I be trying to chill out, be relaxed, and uh, you know, just stay in my scriptures. But sometimes some things can just take you there, man. Right? Some things can just take you there, and um, and that's what I'm working on, man. I'm working on my anger. Uh, you know, and just having more mercy, man, on brothers and sisters, man. You know, so you know, call all y'all by Shimi outside, right? And you know, that's not a reason to always, you know, get carnal, man, right? So let's go to 1 Corinthians First Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 1, it say, and I, brethren, cannot speak unto you into spiritual, right? But as into carnal, even as into babes in Hamashiach. Right? So you don't want to be carnal, right? Because carnal can stop you from receiving the spiritual things, man. Right? You can't be always wanting to beat so like always beating the brother up or beating somebody up, man. Right? Even though Jake could take you there, right? But don't let Jake get you out the spirit, man. That goes for me as well, man. So uh, we got to do better. I have to do better when it comes to actually applying some of these scriptures, man. Be slow to wrath, man. Be slow to anger, you know, because let me get this. When this cut, and this really cut me up, man. This really cut me up. Let's get Sirach chapter 27. Right, this really cut me up. This Sirach 27 and 30. It say malice and wrath, even these are abominations, and the sinful man should have them both. Right, so that cut me to shreds, man. Right, all right. You don't want to have malice and wrath, right? Because they are abominations, right? And that's all being in your damn emotions, man. Right? I gotta get out my emotions, man. Right? I gotta stop being so emotional with certain things, right? And start letting things get me out of the spirit, right? So Israel, just work on yourself, man. When you first get in the truth, work on yourself. Make sure you got get rid of certain sins before you start getting out there, man. Right? Build yourself up in Hamashiach Yahweh first, right? All right, and Lord willing, I come with another video, right? So I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua, Bashem, Kakadash, right? Shalom, Israel, man. Stay girded. Brothers and sisters that just getting the truth, man. Pay attention, man. Just pay attention to what's going on around you, man, and trusting Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua. Shalom.